Another day, another week, and we find more fraud that's going on with regards to tax spending. I think at this point it's getting ridiculous. I mean, last year I started looking into the numbers of how much money we're giving other countries. And just for example, in Ukrainian aid, and I know there's discrepancies again because Zelensky said that he didn't get all of the money. But at some point when the United States gave 150 billion plus to Ukraine, I looked at the numbers, and the numbers suggested that if instead of giving money to Ukraine, we invested that money towards homelessness, we could have given every single homeless person in the United States $100,000. Think of how that could have changed lives. Do I think that's responsible? No. But our money should be going to us. Found out that $9.5 billion in California are being spent on illegal immigrants in California. That's an insane amount of money. Again, $9.5 billion. If we invested that into ourselves, we would be looking at a completely different view in this country, in this state. It is crazy the kind of money we're talking about that we're spending on other people besides ourselves. And again, this isn't about some sort of looking at those versus us. We are paying taxes into a system. This system should be creating a beautiful infrastructure for us to raise our families and live good, beautiful, healthy lives. We are not doing that. We are not doing any of that. The rich are living great, right? They can afford private schools and new cars every year, but the regular average person can't. I'm not even asking that $9.5 billion to be spent on me, but it should be spent on our communities, I just want you to understand, when we're talking $9.5 billion, if that's invested back into the communities, back to us, this is the type of stuff we could be benefiting from. The following is direct tax credits or rebates. That's up to 40 million residents could be getting a rebate or a credit of $237, not life-changing, but it could buy groceries for the household, offsetting things like egg costs. Sales tax could go down by 2%. So when you're making large purchases, especially like a new car, that would make a really big difference. We would invest back into our infrastructure, into much needed maintenance on things like bridges and tunnels. We could modernize those structures. We could modernize our scenic routes. We could modernize our traffic systems. That means the timing of lights, especially during traffic hour, could make traffic flow much easier by timing out green lights and red lights. We would be able to manage our water much better. That would mean creating new reservoirs and creating more ways to capture water when we see gigantic rainfalls like we did the last week. And I think one of the most important things would be an investment back into our education system. That could see things like school infrastructure, upgrading our school facilities, particularly in underserved areas to provide better learning environments, higher education, which would see things like increasing funds for state universities and colleges to lower tuition costs to expand access to education for more residents. We could address issues like homelessness and the home crisis where we don't have enough homes for residents. But that's encompassed in another area. With a lot of the illegal immigrants that we do have here, where they live up to 5 families per one home, the people that own that real estate can then charge more for that rent each month because there's now 5 families paying for one home. And that ends up trickling down to everybody else because rent prices go up. Again, I think it's really important that we start really figuring out what we're doing with our money. Our tax money belongs to us. It is required to be spent on us. We should be improving our communities. We have a huge mental crisis in this country. We have a huge homelessness crisis in this country. We have people, residents of this country, that cannot afford food. We have people that cannot afford rent. So why are we investing people that have not contributed to this system? And again, let's not make this a racial issue. Let's not make this us versus them. But we cannot be giving EBT. We cannot be giving money, credits, places to live to other people if we're not taking care of the people that are a part of this country right now. This is not a racial issue. This is simply an infrastructure issue. This is a rights issue to the tax money that's being invested into the system and then being paid back, and expressing how us as a government takes care of the people that need it the most, that are a part of this system. And we have to start looking into this stuff, because we cannot be living off the backs of the 1960s and 70s. Those people that sacrificed a lot to be able for us to have this great lifestyle that we have now. Some of us have it better than others. But believe me, if you go to some of those third world countries, you would see that even in the worst times, living in this country is better than those places.